The buoy signal is soon detected by Victor's submarine, and the vessel immediately changes course to investigate. But their path is interrupted when a large pod of whales appears, surrounding the submarine. The crew tries to maneuver without harming the animals, but one whale accidentally hits the propeller. At that moment, Olshansky orders the sonar to be activated, despite Victor's objection. The sound forces the whales to swim away, but only temporarily. Within seconds, they return, agitated and unpredictable. Then, without warning, the entire pod scatters, fleeing the area. It becomes clear why. A strange, low-frequency rumble vibrates through the water, and the ocean floor itself begins to rise unnaturally. From the darkness, an enormous tentacle slithers forward, wrapping around a whale and crushing it in an instant. The crew can't hear the rumble with their ears, but the radar flares with warning. Something gigantic is heading straight for them. Believing it to be an enemy vessel, Olshansky orders an attack, but Victor urges stealth. The submarine dives into the shadows of a jagged ice wall. The hiding maneuver is risky. Every time the sub scrapes the ice, it shakes violently, and the radar sound grows painfully loud for the crew using headsets. The creature prowls nearby, but eventually moves on. When the threat passes, they discover that a solid wall of ice blocks their path forward, forcing them to surface for repairs. Elsewhere, Julia and Oscar are huddled against rocks for warmth when the ice beneath them groans and cracks. Suddenly, the submarine surfaces, and its crew rushes to meet the survivors. Even though they clearly aren't from the missing submarine, their presence sparks suspicion. Victor inspects the buoy, then reports to Olshansky. The admiral, wary of potential espionage, suggests leaving Julia and Oscar behind with some food. Victor, however, decides to bring them aboard. Once repairs are complete, the submarine dives again, moving toward the buoy's last recorded position. After a medical examination and a hot meal, Julia and Oscar are questioned. Victor shows them a map, asking about their camp and whether they witnessed anything unusual. Julia mentions the massive explosions they saw before everything collapsed. To Victor, this might explain why his brother's submarine sank. Olshansky advises turning back, warning that the unknown contact on the radar could return. If it attacked again, they might not even have time to send an emergency signal. Victor refuses. If anyone is alive on the missing sub, their oxygen is running out. Not long after, Julia hears a faint sound. Oscar identifies it as sonar from another submarine searching nearby. But before long, the radar confirms their worst fear. The monstrous creature is closing in again. This time, there's nowhere to hide, except near the oil rig Julia had contacted earlier. Victor decides to surface there. As they approach, the oil rig's workers are startled to see massive tentacles rising from the depths. Sirens blare as the creature attacks, tearing apart the massive structure. Explosions rip through the rig while terrified workers scramble for safety, but there's nowhere to run. Sections of the rig collapse into the sea. The submarine loses all communication with the rig. Victor uses the periscope and sees the horrifying destruction firsthand. He streams the live feed to the crew, showing them exactly what they're up against.